Hey guys, it's me and welcome to my first video on how I will teach you how to academically succeed. So, today's video will be about how I got a grade 9 in GCSE history, and I will keep it honest with you guys. I was not at all thinking in 1,000 years that I would get a 9 in history GCSE, but yeah, that's just life. And it isn't by luck, it is by my own hard work. And I will tell you the hard work, like what hard work I did so then I could come and get the 9 in history GCSE. So number one, I used this textbook. It is the Hodder textbook. It really helped me because it had really concise notes. So by concise notes, like it gave me a summary for each and every topic, but it didn't go into depth. It isn't a book where you're gonna read it and expect to get like a 9 in your exam. It'll be like your last minute revision type of book, but it is quite good. It covers each and every event that you want to cover in your topics, in your units, so I quite recommend it. Now the second thing, the most important thing, the second most important thing actually, is there are these PDFs online which have detailed notes. When I say detailed, real good notes about the topics you're studying. They're made by different secondary schools to aid their students' revision, but they're also quite useful for us. And what I mean by that is, let me just show you how you can access one PDF, for example. Okay, so you're just gonna go on your normal web browser, and for me, it is Safari. You just search up GCSE Power and the People PDF. And for me, I searched this up because it is a quite unheard of topic, but it was one of my topics in my GCSE history course, along with the Elizabethan era, Germany, and conflict and tension. And I'm doing it for Power and the People to just show you how, even if the topic is quite unknown of, there will still be people making these PDFs, really detailed notes. For example, let's look at this. Now this is the Long Eaton School. So this is just a random high school that made a knowledge booklet. Over here you can see each and every, like, everything. The Great Reform Act talks about who made it, the causes, the events, the significance in leisure periods, every single thing, really detailed, all the way until the end. It covers almost I think 500 to 700 years of content. And I solely just relied on these PDFs, and they worked because my grade 9 was a proof that they worked. So it gives you super concise notes, and what is important is to take away from those notes. What I do, and I know I went that extreme mile, but I utilized writing those notes. I rewrote those notes. I read them out to myself, and I kept on doing that until I got it, because honestly, I'm a hater for flashcards. I tried flashcards and I miserably failed. I can show you my flashcards. They did not help me at all. They're just not for me. But if it is what works for you, you can take those notes from those PDFs. And the most important thing is that these PDFs online, they're free, and they cover almost, if not every topic that is in the in the history specification, if you might say. Honestly, I quite think that they were quite important for me. Now, moving on, the most important thing if you want to get that 9 in your GCSE, which I hate writing essays, blah blah blah, is to write essays. Yeah, So you have to write those essays. I took almost every single exam paper made, not probably, more or less the exact number of exam papers that AQA gave in my topics. I took those questions and I answered them like there was no tomorrow. I was answering them, I gave them to my history teacher, she marked it for me, and that cycle just continued. I did not stop. I kept writing answers to those questions, blah blah blah. And every time in my real GCSE history exam, whenever I had that history exam, I had at least one or two other exams with it. Not at least, but like I had one exam with that, and the other time I had two exams, which was Arabic and computer science. But I did so much practice that it was second nature to me to just write down the answer and inevitably get it right. But I honestly think that why I was shocked about my 9 was because I don't have that high of a self-confidence, because I hated physics and I just thought, it's not gonna come naturally to me, I'm probably gonna get a 6 in it, blah blah blah. But I did not, and that comes to another important point, which is just in general to have a high self-confidence in yourself, because if you don't be confident in yourself, who will? You need to be confident in yourself, so then you can assure yourself that you're gonna do it, you're gonna aim for those lines, you're gonna ace that exam. Even though I didn't have it, the amount of practice I did led me to getting that 9. So, a combination of self-confidence and practice could really get you a few miles, further in life. That was a bad sentence. But yeah, and another thing, I would always give my teacher my exam questions. I would ask her to mark it for me. Every single time I would ask her to mark it for me. I would not leave that woman alone. And she would mark it to me, she would give me feedback, I would work on that feedback, I would re-answer that question, and I would show it to her again until I got full marks in that essay question, which I ultimately did. Now, the last thing, my most hated part of that history exam. For us last year, we had a specific topic on paper 2 called Drake's circumnavigation. It was bad. I really hated it. I did not use a PDF for the revision for Drake's circumnavigation. I used this YouTuber superstar called Pete Jackson. Definitely check him out. He really helped me in learning Drake's circumnavigation. So over here, he's teaching the exam techniques, the guide to exam GCSE history. It helped me a lot. Let me go further on in this video, and he writes down the different type of questions that would show up, and he would write down like an answer to the question like this, and he would color code it, he would explain it, everything. And then here was the contents video that he made. So this was the whole content that we needed to know for Drake's circumnavigation, and it was a half an hour long video which I wrote notes by. I worshipped, I used it. Okay, here it is. You guys won't be needing it because each and every year the last question for the second paper changes. And for me it was the Drake's circumnavigation thing. In that exam paper, I remember I wrote so much, and it is really important. I know people say quantity is not as good as quality of your exam. I say take both. Literally, utilize that exam technique, utilize the quantity, write as much as you can. Okay, this is like a game where you need to prioritize writing as much as you can. Writing, just keep on writing, whatever, just kind of regurgitate it out, but in a more sophisticated exam technique way. And that really helped me, honestly. Now, another thing is exam technique. So for some exam questions, I use the peel paragraphs. I know these are not that much recommended, but I did use like peel paragraphs. Point, evidence, explain, link. For the small questions, the 4 markers, I would use the other no, I would also use peel paragraphs. I would utilize peel paragraphs, even though they were like 4-mark questions. I would utilize peel paragraphs. And for like other questions like 8 markers or 16 markers, I would also make sure to add a conclusion and an introduction, just because, you know, the inclusion and the introduction and conclusion, they could have gained me that extra mark, you know, who knows. So I really, yeah, I did that as well. I also watched a lot of videos explaining to me about Drake circumnavigation and the Americas on YouTube. I would talk to myself about it. I would literally get on my iPad and start videoing myself as if I am teaching a class. You know, as if I'm in a Zoom class and I'm teaching people the topic. I would teach my brother the topics. I would always like, the thing that really helped me was like pretending like I'm teaching someone. And when I did that, it really, really helped me, because it stuck in my head. And yeah, it just stuck in my head, you know. That's like the only thing. That's why I just didn't think flashcards were that much to me, because honestly, in my opinion, I never used flashcards throughout my GCSEs, and I achieved 3 9s, 5 8s, and a 7. Not the best, I know, but it is quite good in my opinion. So I think flashcards can have alternatives, but the drawback with flashcards is that you need to spend a lot of time writing it, but not just writing it, using it as well. And I just do my active recall in different ways, like blurting it on a whiteboard, blah blah blah. But I'll talk about it when I'm talking about another subject. Advice, yeah. So that's it for my video. I hope you found everything useful. I hope the video was informative. If you have any questions, just comment down below. Thank you.